Open this gate right now. My voice cut through the afternoon heat, sharp enough to make the two HOA board members behind Victoria flinch. She didn't, just stood there on the other side of the brand new steel barrier, 8 feet tall, gleaming, padlocked, holding her clipboard like it was a royal decree. I'm afraid I can't do that, Mr. Bennett. Her voice was honey over ice. This is private community property now. Private? I stepped closer to the gate, gripping the bars. This road is my legal easement, recorded with Cherokee County in 1978. I've been using it for 47 years. She adjusted her designer sunglasses despite standing in shade. Yes, well, things change. The HOA has determined that unrestricted access poses security concerns for our residents. Security concerns? My hands tightened on the steel. I'm the only person who uses this road to reach my property, my home. Exactly. Her smile was razor thin. You're not an HOA resident. This road services our community infrastructure now. We've invested over $200,000 in improvements. You can't just use it for free. For free? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My family's easement gave you the right to build here in the first place. Your water, your power, your internet, all of it runs under my easement. Victoria's smile didn't crack. Our attorney disagrees with your interpretation. The development agreement supersedes outdated easements. You'll need to establish alternative access. There is no alternative access. You know that. Then perhaps you should consider our buyout offer. $25,000 is very generous. $25,000? I laughed, bitter and sharp. To build a new road through 2 miles of forest and ravine? That's not generous. That's insulting. Her voice went cold. It's the only offer you're getting. You can't do this. You can't lock me out of my own property! I just did. She tapped her pen against the clipboard. And unless you want to add trespassing to your problems, I suggest you leave. Now. Behind her, the 2 board members shifted nervously. One whispered something. Victoria silenced him with a look. I stared at her through the bars, at her perfectly styled hair, at her designer blazer, at the expression of absolute certainty that she was right and I was wrong. This isn't over, I said quietly. Oh, I know. Her smile returned, smug and satisfied. You'll probably try to sue. You'll waste time and money. And in the end, you'll realize that Riverside Pines HOA doesn't negotiate with people who refuse to be reasonable. The gate stays. You leave. That's how this ends. She turned on her heel, started walking back to her white SUV parked 50 yards up the road. I stood there, gripping the gate so hard my knuckles went white. That's when I understood. This wasn't about roads or easements or even the law. This was about power. And Victoria Hayes had just made the catastrophic mistake of thinking a clipboard and a keypad could erase 47 years of legal documentation. She was about to learn otherwise. I'm Cole Bennett, 5th generation Georgian. My family bought these 25 acres in Cherokee County back in 1978. When I was barely walking, when the area was still farmland and pine forests, not subdivisions with names like Riverside Pines and homeowners associations treating every square foot like their personal kingdom. Back then, the only way to reach our property was a gravel road cutting through Old Man Fletcher's land. Fletcher was a farmer, weathered, practical, decent. When my father asked about using the road, Fletcher didn't just agree, he made it legal. Permanent recorded easement. Signed, notarized, filed with Cherokee County. Access for vehicles, utilities, water, power, communications, everything a modern home would ever need. That easement was ironclad. Filed in Deed Book 847, page 293. Long before HOAs became neighborhood tyrants. For 40 years, life was simple. My parents tended their garden. My father fixed equipment that didn't need fixing. I grew up learning every trail, creek, and tree on that land until it felt like extension of myself. Fletcher's farm was our only neighbor. We'd help him mend fences. He'd help us clear brush. No drama, no nonsense, just neighbors. Then life happened. My parents got older. Time moved faster. Eventually, both passed, leaving the land, my childhood, my sanctuary to me. Even then, things stayed quiet for years. The road remained reliable, winding through Fletcher's property up to mine. No gates, no problems, no Victoria. But peaceful places never stay peaceful. Someone always smells opportunity. It started with rumors, survey stakes appearing downhill, trucks unloading lumber, contractors talking about beautiful new community with shared amenities and homeowners association designed for maximum harmony. Harmony, first red flag. Second was when Fletcher passed. His kids lived out of state, had no interest in farming, sold the entire 180 acres to highest bidder. That's when trouble rolled in, disguised as progress. Freshly incorporated HOA with glossy brochures, matching signs, manicured smiles. Overnight, quiet gravel path became construction zone. Dump trucks rumbling, bulldozers pushing earth, new houses rising like mushrooms after rain. I tried not to worry. My easement was legal, unconditional, untouchable. But trouble has a way of finding you, especially when it wears designer labels, carries a clipboard, and believes rules matter more than people. First time Victoria showed up at my property, she didn't call ahead. Just marched up my driveway in perfectly ironed blazer, heels crunching gravel like she was stomping out rebellion. Introduced herself as HOA president. Acting president, she emphasized, like that gave her royal authority instead of temporary title. She said the new community was exclusive, peaceful, controlled. Explained residents were concerned about unregulated vehicles using internal roads. Unregulated. That was the word she used for me. Person who'd lived there since before HOA existed. Then she made her offer. HOA wanted to purchase my easement for $25,000 and assist me in building entirely new road on east side of property, which would require cutting through woods, crossing ravine, flattening terrain, essentially carving 2 miles of road through wilderness. She smiled like she was offering winning lottery ticket, not financial death sentence. I stayed polite, explained the history, the legality. Most importantly, my easement wasn't for sale. Smile slid off her face like wax from candle. Voice turned sharper. Our community won't appreciate cars driving through. We need order. If you won't work with us, things could get complicated. I looked her in eye. Then maybe your HOA shouldn't have bought land with recorded easement on it. She didn't like that. Not one bit. After that day, every time I drove down gravel road, I'd see HOA construction workers watching me like I was trespassing. Victoria would stand on porches with arms crossed, tapping pen against clipboard like keeping score of my existence. But I wasn't worried. I had the law. I had history. Besides, what could an HOA possibly do? Plenty, apparently. Over the next few weeks, little inconveniences started. Gravel piles mysteriously blocking road. Equipment accidentally left in inconvenient places. Trucks taking sweet time moving. Victoria never said a word, just watched. Always watching. Still, none of that prepared me for the day everything changed. When I turned corner and saw that massive steel gate blocking only way to my home, I stopped truck 50 feet from gate, engine idling, staring. 8 feet tall, industrial-grade steel, keypad mounted on side, blinking red, posts cemented deep, professional installation, sign bolted to center, riverside pines, HOA residents only, private road. No trespassing. My road, my legal easement. Suddenly private. I got out, walked up to gate, tested it. Solid. No give. Not decorative. HOA barrier. Legitimate fortification. Pulled out phone. Called Victoria. Straight to voicemail. Called again. Voicemail. By fourth call, I knew she wasn't picking up. I drove around to construction entrance. Blocked. Another locked barrier. Tried service road. Same thing. I sat in truck on highway. Shoulder. Staring at fence line in distance. feeling something sharp twist in chest. Not anger yet, disbelief. That someone could be bold or stupid enough to seal man off from his own property. Eventually I parked, grabbed backpack, started walking. 2 miles through woods, over brush, under leaning trees, across uneven slopes. Trek nobody should have to take just to get home. Reached house covered in sweat and scratches, exhausted, furious. That's when I realized, if I didn't fight immediately, Victoria would think she'd won. That afternoon, I called my attorney, Rachel Morrison. If Victoria was steel gate, Rachel was battering ram. Sharp, relentless, impossible to ignore. Rachel listened quietly as I explained everything. Easement, threats, construction, gate, every detail. When I finished, she exhaled slow breath. You're kidding. Wish I was. You have recorded easement? Yes, permanent. Everything from power to water. And HOA just locked you out? Like I'm stray dog, she laughed. Not because funny, because legally ridiculous. Send me documents. I'm going to ruin their week. I scanned everything, sent it over. 2 hours later, she called back. You're fine. They're absolutely, unquestionably, 1000% in the wrong. What do? We give them chance to fix it. I'm drafting formal demand letter. Rachel was surgeon with words. Sharp, precise, lethal. She wrote, letter that made my jaw drop. Not rude, not emotional, pure legal fire. Listed every clause, every right, every consequence. Gave them 48 hours to remove gate or face lawsuit for violating recorded easement. When she emailed it to Victoria and HOA board, she CC'd their legal department too. Game on. HOA's response came next evening. Email from their attorney, man named Garrett Spencer, who apparently thought arrogance counted as legal strategy. Email claimed easement might not apply to modern roadways. That development constituted change in conditions. That I should seek alternative access routes to maintain harmony with alternative access routes. They meant forest that nearly broke my ankle. Rachel replied with 2 sentences. There are no alternative access routes. Your client is landlocking my client's property, which is illegal. Their lawyer sent longer, more defensive reply. Rachel sent even shorter one. See you in court. By next morning, she was filing for emergency injunction with Cherokee County Court. Meanwhile, I still couldn't use road. Had to park at dirt clearing near highway. Hike in again. This time with groceries. Bags cutting into palms. Halfway through woods, I muttered, Victoria better pray we don't get thunderstorm. Just my luck, we did. Rain soaked me head to toe. Mud clung to boots. Bags tore. Slipped twice. When I stumbled onto porch like half-drowned bear, I could almost hear Victoria's voice echoing in distance, lecturing about HOA regulations while sipping overpriced tea. That night, I sat at kitchen table, glaring into wet darkness beyond window. Felt anger. Hot. Sharp. Righteous. This wasn't misunderstanding. This wasn't neighborly disagreement. This was someone abusing power because they thought rules mattered more than human beings. But as angry as I was, something else nagged at back of mind. Memory. My father once said, when someone tries to take your road, make sure you remember everything that road is connected to. Next morning, I dug through parents' old file cabinet, faded papers, handwritten notes, maps, deeds, photographs. There, tucked between envelopes, I found it. Full utility map for property and all connected lines. Electricity ran under easement. Water ran under easement. Internet cables under easement? I grabbed highlighter, traced every line. All led to one realization. HOA wasn't just blocking my road. They were using easement to run their entire neighborhood. Rachel called an hour later. Judge wants hearing in 2 days. Be ready. I told her what I discovered. She went quiet, then burst out laughing. They're using your utilities? Under your easement? While blocking your access? Yes. Oh, That's golden. They don't know, do they? Not yet. They're going to know. I'm amending filing. This just turned into damages claim. Over next 48 hours, things move fast. Rachel contacted power company. They sent engineer. He walked lines, checked panels, reviewed connection points. Yep, he said. Their grid ties directly into these lines. If these went down, whole subdivision would go dark. So they're dependent on my easement? Absolutely. Everything flows through here, he wrote formal report. Rachel included it in filing. Storm wasn't coming anymore. It had arrived. 3 days before court hearing, process server knocked on my door. Had to hike in to receive it. Server looked annoyed he had to walk. Legal documents, thick packet, Riverside Pines, HOA versus Cole Bennett, civil complaint, injunctive relief, and damages, $500,000. I read standing in doorway, hands shaking. HOA was suing me for trespassing on private community roads, for harassment of HOA officials, for disrupting community harmony, for threatening legal action in bad faith. They claimed my HOA repeated unauthorized access had caused emotional distress to residents, that my refusal to cooperate had created hostile environment. They wanted $500,000 in damages, plus injunction preventing me from using HOA roads until access dispute was resolved through proper channels. Proper channels, while blocking my only road. I called Rachel, voice shaking with rage. They're suing me for trespassing on my own easement. Pause. What? $500K, claiming I'm harassing them. She exhaled slowly. This is slap suit, strategic lawsuit to silence you, make fighting back so expensive you give up. Can they win? No, but it'll drag through discovery for months, cost you time, energy, stress. That's the point. Sat down hard. How much will this cost me? I'll handle pro bono, but your time, your peace of mind, those are costs they're counting on. I sat staring at $500,000 lawsuit. Phone rang again. My brother in Atlanta. Cole, I heard about lawsuit. You need to drop this. Sell the land. Move on. It's not worth it. It's our family's land. It's 25 acres in middle of nowhere. They're offering you money to leave. Take it. I'm not selling. Then you're going to lose everything. The legal fees alone will bankrupt you. Just take the deal and move on with your life. He hung up. I sat in empty house, feeling walls close in. $500K lawsuit. Emergency injunction hearing in 2 days. Brother telling me to quit. Victoria weaponizing legal system. And still couldn't drive home without hiking 2 miles through woods. Felt like drowning. Phone buzzed. Text from number I didn't recognize. You should have taken the $25,000. Now you lose everything. Your land, your money, your reputation. This is just the beginning. VH Victoria. Gloating. I stared at that text for a long time. Thought about giving up, opening gate, apologizing, making this go away. Thought about next family Victoria would target when I backed down. Thought about my father's voice. Some battles find you, and when they do, you stand your ground. And I thought, no, not this time. She wanted to destroy me? Fine. But I was taking her down with me. I opened laptop, started writing email to every media outlet in Georgia. Subject, HOA blocks family's 47-year easement. Sues landowner for $500K for trespassing on owned property. Attached documentation. Photos. Legal records. Utility maps. Victoria's threatening text. Hit send to 12 news stations. 8 newspapers. 5 investigative journalists. 3 legal advocacy groups. If Victoria wanted war, she'd get one. Rachel called at midnight. Cole, I saw media tip. Bold move. She's trying to destroy me. I'm not going quietly. Good. Because Atlanta Journal-Constitution just called. They want full investigation. Channel 2 News wants interview. This is going to explode. Let it explode. Hung up. Walked to window. Looked toward HOA lights in distance. Victoria thought she'd won. Thought lawsuit and threats would break me. She was about to learn. Sometimes when you push people hard enough, they don't break. They push back harder. Next morning, my phone rang at 6 a.m. Rachel, voice urgent but excited. Turn on Channel 2 News. I grabbed remote, flipped to local news. There it was. Local AOA accused of blocking landowner's 47-year easement. Reporter standing in front of Riverside Pines entrance. Victoria's Gate visible in background. Cherokee County man says he's been locked out of his own property by homeowners association that built development on his family's legal easement. Cole Bennett has documentation dating back to 1978, proving his right to use this road. But 3 weeks ago, the HOA installed this gate, blocking his only access. Cut to interview with utility engineer. These power lines, water lines, internet, all run under the easement Mr. Bennett's family established. Without that easement, this entire development wouldn't have utilities. Cut to reporter. HOA President Victoria Hayes declined interview. But in court documents filed yesterday, the HOA is suing Bennett for $500,000, claiming HE is trespassing. Reporter paused for effect. On his own easement? Phone started ringing. Other reporters. Friends I hadn't talked to in years. Neighbors from miles away. By 9 a.m., the story had gone viral locally. By noon, it was picked up by state news. By evening, it was on social media with thousands of shares. HOA Karen blocks man from his own property, then sues him for $500K. Comments section was brutal for Victoria. This is why HOAs are tyrannical. Someone arrest this woman. He should shut off their utilities and see how they like it. That last one made me smile, but I wasn't going to do that. I didn't need to. The court would handle it. 2 days before court hearing, I received unexpected email from HOA board member named Greg Thompson. Subject, emergency board meeting. Please attend. Email was short. Cole, things are getting out of control. Victoria is doubling down. Board is divided. Your presence might help. Thursday, 7 p.m. Community Center. Greg. I called Rachel. Should I go? Yes. Document everything. Record, if Georgia allows it, which it does, one-party consent. See what she says. Thursday evening, I arrived at Riverside Pines Community Center. Large, modern building with floor-to-ceiling windows. Parking lot was packed. Inside, the meeting room was full. 50, 60 residents, all talking at once. Angry voices. Worried faces. At front of room sat long table. 5 board members. And Victoria. When she saw me enter, her eyes narrowed. But she didn't look rattled. She looked ready for war. That's when I saw it properly for the first time. The crimson-red blazer. Not maroon, not burgundy aggressive. Bold crimson. Perfectly tailored, expensive fabric draped over her shoulders like armor she refused to remove, even indoors. Like she was wearing authority itself. Underneath, black silk blouse with deep V-neck, cut in way that seemed calculated to distract, to keep people slightly off balance while she wielded power. Pencil skirt matched blazer exactly. Same crimson red, fitted with precision, subtle slit that moved when she walked to podium. And those heels, glossy red, clicking against tile floor like countdown timers, adding unnecessary height, matching both blazer and her lips exactly. Her auburn hair styled in perfect waves, shoulder length, catching overhead lights whenever she turned to address someone. Those lips, glossy red, same shade as everything else, pressed into thin line as she surveyed room. She looked like power dressed for war. Like control wearing designer labels, like someone who'd spent years perfecting image of untouchable authority. Victoria banged gavel at 7:05 p.m. Emergency board meeting called to order. We have much to discuss regarding recent disruptions. She looked directly at me when she said disruptions. Resident in front row stood immediately. Woman in her 60s, shaking with anger. Victoria. We've been paying HOA dues for 3 years. And you used our money to build a gate blocking someone's legal easement? Now we're being sued? The HOA is not being sued, Victoria corrected sharply. Mr. Bennett is making frivolous claims. He's not suing US, another man interrupted. We're suing him for $500,000 with our dues money. Murmurs swept room. Victoria's smile tightened. That crimson blazer caught the light as she straightened. The board authorized necessary legal action to protect community interests. Greg Thompson stood. I voted against that lawsuit. So did 2 other board members. You authorized it on your own authority. Victoria's face flushed. As president, I have discretion. You have limits, Greg shot back. And you crossed them. Room erupted, people shouting. Some defending Victoria, most attacking her. She banged gavel repeatedly. Order. We will have order. But there was no order. A younger man stood, holding phone up. I just got email from our insurance company. They're denying coverage for the lawsuit because it involves intentional violation of documented property rights. We're on the hook for legal fees ourselves. Gasps around room. Victoria's jaw clenched. That's preliminary. Once they review full circumstances. What full circumstances? Woman shouted. You built a gate on someone else's easement. His family has had that right since 1978. Before any of us moved here. Before the land was even developed, someone else added. Victoria slammed gavel down hard enough to crack it. Enough. This community hired me to maintain standards, to protect property values, to ensure quality of life, and I will not apologize for doing my job, she pointed at me. That man is using our roads, our infrastructure, benefiting from our investments, and contributing nothing. I stood slowly. Room went quiet. Your roads run on my easement, I said clearly. Your water runs under my easement. Your power runs under my easement. Without my family's legal right-of-way, this entire development wouldn't exist. You didn't do me a favor. You depended on my property to build here. That crimson blazer seemed to burn brighter as Victoria's face went red beneath it. You're twisting facts. I have the utility maps, filed with the county. Want me to show them? Silence. Greg stood again. Victoria, I'm calling for vote. Motion to remove the gate immediately and drop the lawsuit against Mr. Bennett. Seconded. Another board member said instantly. Victoria's eyes flashed. You can't. We can, Greg said firmly. All in favor? 4 hands went up. Only Victoria opposed. She stood there, that crimson blazer like war flag refusing to surrender, staring at the betrayal of her own board. This meeting is adjourned, she said coldly, grabbed her clipboard, turned on those glossy red heels, walked out, clicking, clicking, clicking. Sound of power walking away. Monday, 2 p.m., Cherokee County Courthouse. Packed hallway. HOA members shuffling around nervously. Media cameras outside. Reporters asking questions. Victoria was there, still wearing that crimson blazer like armor, talking to her lawyer with stiff posture of someone who believed law existed solely to protect her preferences. I didn't approach, didn't look her in eye. Just waited with Rachel, who calmly flipped through documents. Relax, she said. They dug their own grave. Victoria doesn't strike me as learns her lesson type. She will today. When courtroom doors opened, we filed in. Judge entered. Older man with half-moon glasses and reputation for not tolerating nonsense. Everyone rose. He sat. Papers shuffled. It began. Victoria's lawyer went first. Tall man in sleek suit. Voice smooth as dish soap. Launched into monologue about development, community needs, modernizing infrastructure. Argued easement might no longer apply. That property boundaries had shifted. That evolving neighborhood necessitated new restrictions. Talked for 5 minutes straight, waving hands like HOA conductor, directing symphony of excuses. Judge listened with growing impatience. When he finished, Judge turned to Rachel. Miss Morrison? She rose. Calm, lethal. Your Honor, this is simple. Placed easement document on desk with satisfying thump. Permanent recorded easement. Unambiguous. Irrevocable. Binding on any future property owners. Another document. Photographs of gate blocking my client's sole access to his home. Another. Utility maps showing electricity, water, communications for HOA community, all run under easement they claim doesn't exist. Another. Report from utility engineer confirming HOA is using these lines. Didn't raise voice. Didn't rant. Let evidence speak. Then dropped hammer. Your Honor, not only has HOA illegally landlocked my client, they are actively benefiting from easement they're denying him. They installed gate preventing his access while simultaneously drawing utilities from same easement to power their entire community. Judge lifted eyebrows. Is this accurate? Victoria's lawyer cleared throat. We dispute applicability of that easement under current conditions. Judge cut him off. That's not what I asked. Are you using those utilities? Yes or no? Lawyer hesitated, glanced nervously at Victoria in her crimson blazer. Yes, community currently uses those lines. Judge leaned forward, folded hands. So, your client blocked easement while relying on it for essential services? Victoria opened mouth. No words came. Then Victoria's lawyer stood abruptly. Your Honor, before ruling, we have new evidence that fundamentally changes this case. He pulled thick folder from briefcase. This morning, we obtained engineering survey showing current road alignment differs significantly from 1,978 easement path. The road has been upgraded, paved, expanded over 45 years. Current route deviates from original easement by up to 40 feet in several sections. He displayed large map on screen. Original easement in red, current road in blue. They didn't align perfectly. Technically, Mr. Bennett's easement no longer applies to actual road. He's demanding access to infrastructure he has no legal right to use. My stomach dropped, murmurs in courtroom. Rachel's hand gripped my arm briefly. Steady. Victoria's lawyer pressed on. Furthermore, we have documentation showing HOA invested $247,000 in road improvements since 2018, new pavement, drainage systems, utility upgrades, all funded by HOA dues. He pulled up invoices, contractors, materials, labor, Mr. Bennett claims these utilities run under his easement. But these are new utilities, installed by HOA, paid for by HOA. They run parallel to old easement corridor, not under it. He clicked to engineering diagram. New utility lines marked separately from old easement. Crowd murmuring louder, some nodding. Judge frowned, studying diagrams. Victoria stood. That crimson blazer seemed to glow with vindication. Your Honor, we're not blocking Mr. Bennett's easement. We're protecting infrastructure we created. His 1,978 easement was for gravel, farm, road, and basic utilities. What exists now is modern paved road with advanced infrastructure worth nearly $250,000. She paused for effect. He wants free access to improvements he didn't pay for. That's not property rights. That's exploitation. Her voice rose with righteous indignation. We offered him $25,000 to resolve this. We offered to help him build alternative access. He refused everything. Then he went to media, claiming we're monsters, destroying our reputation, harassing our residents. She gestured to gallery. Several HOA residents nodded. This lawsuit is not about property rights. It's about one man's vendetta against community that won't give him free ride. Several people applauded. Judge banged gavel. Order. But damage was done. Victoria was winning. I felt ice in stomach. Looked at Rachel. She stood slowly, voice cutting through noise. Your Honor, everything opposing counsel just said is fascinating fiction. Pulled out USB drive, walked to projection screen. Miss? Hayes claims road has been upgraded and moved. Let's verify with county records. Pulled up official survey from Cherokee County Engineering Department, dated 2 weeks ago. This is current certified survey showing actual road centerline, overlaid it with 1,978 easement. They matched. Exactly. Road has been paved. Yes. Improved. Yes. But route hasn't changed. Centerline is identical to 1,978 easement within surveying margin of error less than 3 feet. She zoomed in on key sections. Perfect alignment. Victoria's face went white. Regarding new utilities that supposedly don't use easement, Rachel pulled up county utility records with official stamps and approval dates. Water line upgraded 2019. Application filed by HOA. Approval granted by county on condition. Must use existing utility corridor per deed book 847, page 293. That's Mr. Bennett's easement. She pulled up electrical records. Power upgraded 2020. Same condition. Must use existing corridor. Internet fiber installed 2021. Same condition. She turned to Victoria and her lawyer. Every new utility you claim is separate was approved by county specifically because it used existing easement corridor. You didn't create new infrastructure. You upgraded old infrastructure that was always on Mr. Bennett's easement. Pulled up development permit for Riverside Pines. Here's original approval for your development. Condition 7. Developer must maintain existing utility easement and access per recorded documents. You agreed to this. It was requirement for building here. She displayed 3 emails. These are from your own HOA files, obtained through discovery last week. First email from Victoria to HOA Board, 2022. Utility upgrades complete. All lines running through existing easement corridor as required by county. Second email, 2023. Road paving finished. Maintained original easement path per legal requirements. Third email, 3 months ago. Bennett is being difficult about buyout. If he won't sell, we install gate and force him to negotiate. Possession is 9/10 of the law. Room exploded. Judge leaned forward sharply. Miss Hayes, did you write that email? Victoria tried to speak. That crimson blazer suddenly looking less like armor, more like target. Eye context, that's not yes or no. Her voice dropped to whisper, yes. Judge removed glasses. Rubbed bridge of nose. So you knowingly installed gate on easement you admitted you were required to maintain, with intention to force property owner into unfavorable negotiation. Silence. That's not property management. That's extortion. Victoria sank into chair. Judge looked at papers, then at me, then at Victoria. Remove gate within 24 hours. Failure to comply. $10,000 per day. Victoria's jaw dropped. HOA will pay plaintiff $85,000 in damages for illegal landlocking, lost use of property, emotional distress, and attorney fees. Permanent injunction issued. HOA shall never restrict, alter, obstruct, or interfere with plaintiff's easement. Any violation results in immediate contempt charges. He looked directly at Victoria. And Miss Hayes, you're fortunate I'm not referring this for criminal investigation, but I'm sending copy of proceedings to county attorney for review. Gavel fell like thunder. Victoria wilted, that crimson blazer crumpling around her like defeated flag. Her lawyer looked like man contemplating career change. HOA members stared in shock. And me? Deep, satisfying exhale I'd been holding for months. 6 months later, Saturday morning, early fall. I was at property line checking fence posts. Warm air, smell of pine. Gate was long gone. Holed away like broken toy. Road was open. Had been for months. HOA had paid damages. $85,000. Plus attorney fees. Victoria had resigned 3 weeks after hearing. Moved to Florida, rumor said. Trying to start over where nobody knew her story. New HOA board reached out. Not with threats, not with offers to buy. With apology. We're sorry for everything that happened under previous leadership. We hope to move forward respectfully and maintain the easement as legally required. Not perfect, but a start. My phone buzzed. Text from Rachel. County adopted Bennett Easement Protection Act today. All existing easements must be verified and protected before HOA development approval. Your case law now. Congrats. I looked at message. Typed back. Some battles you don't choose, but when they find you, you stand your ground. Set phone down. Walked back to house. Coffee waiting on porch. Pair of hawks circled overhead. Land was mine again, not just legally, spiritually. Where my parents had lived, where I'd grown up, where I'd fought to stay. The road stretched before me, open, clear, mine. Sometimes all it takes is one person refusing to back down. I wasn't special, wasn't brave, just unwilling to give up what was mine, and that made all the difference.